How you doing? My name is Doc Mompean, and this video is about losing Eddie Van Halen yesterday. Today is Wednesday, October 7th, 2020, and so he passed away Tuesday the 6th, and I just wanted to talk about, what the guy meant to me. I never got the chance to meet Edward Van Halen. I did meet Alex once. It was at a NAMM show, National Association for Music Merchants, for those that don't know what that is, NAMM. It's the convention that anybody and everybody that has anything to do with the music business goes to. There's two of them a year, one in LA in January called the Winter NAMM, and one in Nashville in the summer called the Summer NAMM. And I met Alex very briefly and asked him if he would take a picture with me. My then pregnant former wife was standing there with camera in hand, ready, and he put up his finger and said, "I'll be right back," and I never saw him again. Oh my gosh. So that was my experience with Alex. But this was back in 1986. But I never got the opportunity to meet Edward. Eddie was somebody that was extremely influential in my life. I'm in my mid-50s, and I've been playing guitar since I was 11, music since I was 6, started on the piano. And when I first heard King Edward, I was, I don't know, all of maybe 14, maybe 15, but right there. And I, like the rest of the world, was immediately taken aback by hearing Van Halen 1, and obviously Eruption in particular. His musical ability, prowess, talent, however you want to articulate that, was enormous. And of course, being that age, the more that I learned about the band and him in particular, the more I wanted to be, just like him. In a lot of regards, he was my Hendrix. I know a lot of people that just idolize Hendrix, and for good reason. And it's not to take anything away from Jimmy, of course. But Eddie was my Jimmy. His sense of melody, his accuracy with not only rhythm but solos was dense as far as what it was chock full of, you know what I mean? Like, it just had it all. And reading interviews with him later, you know, he talked about how he didn't really like to talk to people because everything that he had to say, he said in notes. And that, wow, I mean, really helped me. He said it didn't need to have vocals because when he wrote so that it would be full. It would be complete. You could put vocals on top of it and it would just make it better. But that's how he approached songwriting, was what he wrote and what he played was enough. And the records prove it. Nothing against the singers he's played with. I mean, I've seen Van Halen the band about 20 times. I saw Roth and Hagar an equal amount. About 9 times apiece. And I saw them with Gary Sharon twice. All of the times that I saw them with Roth were in the earlier days. The very first time I saw them, oh my gosh, I want to say it was 1979. I was 15. I live in California, in the Central Valley, and and I and some friends drove to Oakland, California, where Van Halen were on their first headline tour, and they had played to a packed house at the Oakland Coliseum the night before, and we got the opportunity to see them at the Henry J. Kaiser Convention Center, which it's a theater that seats less than 10,000. So they had done the Coliseum the night before. They were doing a second night, but not at the Coliseum, at this theater. And I can't even describe to you how much energy that show had. I've never seen one like it. Flies. I've never seen one like it before. I've never seen one like it before, and I've never seen one like it since. It was David Lee Roth, the singer for Van Halen, the original singer, said in one of their tours and an interview that most people like to create a spark on stage. They bring a flamethrower. And that was how it felt. Like, it was honestly a barrage of sound and music and musicality, the likes of which I had never seen before. Now, at that point, I had been a Kiss fan and did end up seeing them later. Saw them a couple times. Hadn't seen them at that point. And I think for maybe the show, as far as like explosions and Simmons spitting blood and breathing fire and, you know, the circus of it, which is actually the way that Eddie described it in Guitar Player magazine. They definitely brought the show. But just as a band with incredibly powerful songs and a guitar player like no other, those early shows were monumental. And they set a tone. They set a tone that I've never seen matched. Now I gotta tell you, I'm just an enormous Van Halen fan, and I know that not everybody is, so, you know, if you're not, then okay, that's cool. But for me, being introduced at 14, 15 to the explosion that was Van Halen, it was monumental. And it elevated my personal expectations musically. Brought me to a whole other level of seeing what was possible. And you know, what I hope for myself. I don't know how he created what he created. I write, but I still don't know where all that came from in the ether for him. What I do know is that it had a tremendous impact on me as a pre-young man, as a teenage boy. And oh my God, like, I wanted to be able to do that. Oof. I know that people don't live up to expectations a lot of the time. I never got to meet the man. I've watched countless hours of videos about the band and read about them and so on and so forth. Out of all of them, Alex is the only one that I've met, and he didn't treat me very well. But it was 1986, and there was lots of people that had big heads and so on and so forth, so I mean, I'm sure he's a nice enough person. He was not the only person during that NAMM show to treat me that way as well. Yngwie Malmsteen did the exact same thing. But the guitarist Stanley Jordan, who, oh my goodness, man, talk about phenomenal. He's a phenomenal pianist, but he's a guitarist who plays with both hands on the fretboard. I am not playing currently. I'm a little gimpy. I had surgery a week ago today for carpal tunnel and trigger fingers. But I will get stitches out a week from today, and that's been probably the hardest thing of this thing for me, because I remember when Stevie died, when SRV died, I cried. And I'm not a crier, but I cried. And I had rehearsal that day, and I went to rehearsal, and that was one of the best musical days I've ever had in my life. I mean, it was out of this world, you know. The emotion that I had, I'm not talking out of ego, it poured out. Just poured out of me. So I'm really bummed because of this, that I can't play now, because that's what I want to do more than anything. I'm so bummed about Edward. Just a side note. My father, who was a great dad, but my father died when I was 9 in a car accident. My grandfather stepped up to be my male role model, but we found out that he had cancer within a couple months after my dad dying, and so 11 months after I lost my father at 9, I lost my grandfather at 10. So for me, at 14, 15, I had no male role model. I was the oldest I only have one sibling. And I'm a guitar player, my brother is a drummer, so we did kind of fashion after the Van Halen brothers in our early days. And, Edward to me was kind of like the big brother that I had never met, like I was enamored with his guitar playing and his musical ability, but it was just the whole package. I loved the kind of things that he said in interviews because he was real and he was honest, which I love. I'm shoot from the hip kind of guy, you know what I mean? So I love that about him. Thank you, Eddie, for all the music, for all the good times, all the songs. Teaching me how to play rhythm guitar as well as lead. Teaching me how to write. Thank you. Sure gonna miss it. I think King Edward is my favorite rock guitar god, guitar hero. I have to say he's not quite my very favorite, even though he means so much to me. My very favorite is a Christian guitarist by the name of Phil Keaggy. And that's because I watched Phil many times over many years. Use God to play through him. But I really think, I don't know what Edward's religious beliefs are, spiritual beliefs are, but I think I saw God playing through him all the time. I think my favorite song of all time from Van Halen would have to be off the first record. A song called I'm the One. Oh my God, a tour de force. But everything from that and Eruption to Atomic Punk and Jamie's Crying, Beautiful Girls, to Dance the Night Away, Where Have All the Good Times Gone, Mean Streets. To Staples, it was Sammy. Black and Blue, Summer, oh my God, on and on and on and on and on. Just, and I think that I'm the One would be the top because of what it meant to me at the time. But honestly, the rival for that for me would be the song 5150. I wrote something after that came out that was similar, different. And I think the thing that Eddie taught me that I still hold true with today as a musician, as a guitarist, is I don't do copy songs, and I don't play in copy bands, because I really don't try to be someone else. I do covers, and that's one of the things that Van Halen always did best. You listen to You Really Got Me or Pretty Woman, and you know exactly what song it is, but it doesn't sound anything like the original. It sounds like Van Halen. And out of everything that I learned from Ed, that was on the top of my list. I learned lots of Ed's stuff note for note, so I'm not saying don't do that. He talked about learning Clapton with Cream, and I went out and knowing, Crossroads note for note. I went out and bought the record, and at that point it was a record. A record. But I'm not saying don't go learn it note for note. That's how you learn. But it's the philosophy, it's the attitude. Edward said back in the 80s in an interview in Guitar Player magazine that he thought that, copying somebody was the highest form of flattery, which is an old saying, but he said, in his opinion, that was BS. He didn't see BS, he said. But I think he had a point. And it kind of was a revelation at the time, because it was like, well, no, you're supposed to learn this and learn that and learn the other. And yeah, you are. But when you go out to do it, don't go do it note for note. Don't go try and take somebody else's shtick and just do their shtick. Create your own. And he was a master at doing that. He had a very, very hard, tough work ethic, which is very documented. The guy worked. He put in the time. He put in the hours. But his attitude was create your own. That's why he built his own guitar. That's why he potted his own pickups. That's why he tweaked his own amps. On and on and on and on. So, to me, Eddie's legacy, oh my God. In my life, it's enormous. I have Eddie as an influence. And I will reach, when it's not gimpy, reach over and tap. But it's kind of hard to do that and not sound like Edward. Stanley Jordan was one that tapped, still does, I'm assuming, incredibly well. Didn't sound anything like Edward. Took what Eddie was doing to the next level. And when I saw him at that same NAMM show that I saw Alex Van Halen at, and I asked him to take a picture with me, he didn't put up his finger and tell me I'll be right back. He said, I'm sorry, dude, I really can't. I'm expected somewhere and I'm running, I'm on my way. And I said, no problem. I understand, I get it. You don't have to lie. You don't have to be a jerk. Tell the truth. We learn lessons from our heroes. And I learned a lot of lessons from Edward. And I appreciate him. and I am so sad that we didn't have him longer. I do feel like I lost a big brother. And I'm heartbroken about it. I'll live, I'll survive. And I will keep on writing and keep on playing. But man, the world's a little bit darker not having Eddie in it. Losing Edward yesterday is a huge loss to the musical community, to the guitar community, and to all of us as listeners. I feel so bad for his son Wolf and his brother Alex and you know, his wife and his ex-wife. And I know that there's extended family and whatnot, and I just feel really bad. I never met him, but I heard that he was a very nice guy. The one thing that he did that I wasn't really happy with was he did, you know, in the last few years, he kind of disparaged Michael Anthony, the original bass player. And I don't know, never met him either, but everything that I've ever seen about Michael looks like he's a stand-up guy. So, you know, I don't know if that's the truth or not, because I've never met the man, but it seems that way. And I don't know why Eddie felt the need to do that at that time. I know there were hard feelings between him and Sammy, but that's always been a lot of drama, and I don't want to get into that. I just, you know that I was always impressed with him as a writer, as a player, as a musician. Just phenomenal skills. And that statement, that what he says, what he has to say, he says in notes. That will stay true, stands true forever. Long live King Edward. Eddie, we're gonna miss you. Like a member of the family. He was 9 years older than I am. And it kind of does feel like losing a member of the family. Cancer sucks. Cancer sucks. So to Wolfgang and the rest of the family, our hearts go out to you guys, and my prayers to you.